We are at the Net Events 2018 conference in San Jose, California, and we have the pleasure to talk with Greg Fitzgerald, who is CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of the company called JASK, a company that is specialized in cyber security. Greg Fitzgerald, good morning.
Thank you.
Let's start with what you're doing. In short, JASK, which means Just Ask, is about 2.5 years old, based in San Francisco, employ about 80 people, mostly skilled and experienced people in cyber security. And you are proposing what you call an ASOC, ASOC meaning autonomous SOC. Could you explain a little bit what it is?
Absolutely. So the company has a deep experience of being SOC operators ourselves. So we understand the pains of what the SOC operator has to do to collect the requisite information, the data from all the monitoring products that are out there, to segment it, and then to analyze it just to see if there's even an issue they need to address. So that's a lot of work. It's a lot of pain for the individual doing that, and it takes a long time, which is one of the reasons why we know it's taking 100 to 150 days to even discover if there's a compromise. It's just too late. And so at JASK, we wanted to shrink that time down to seconds, maybe just minutes, and without the effort. So the autonomous SOC is actually a platform that we produced that takes in all this data from all the data sources that are possible, whether they're endpoint, network, the user, the application, or threat intelligence of any other input. And we autonomously apply artificial intelligence to that to determine what alerts are actually linked to each other, and giving the SOC analyst the immediate recognition that there's a problem, and here are the elements of that problem over both time and user, device, application, or network segment that they need to look at.
Does that mean that to use your solution, you need to have a SOC? And if you don't have a SOC, what do you do?
Great question. You don't need to have a SOC. Really, while it says a SOC, what you really need to be is monitoring your organization. So whether you monitor your organization with one person or 300 people, this platform, again, solves that one problem, which is that the human gets to identify very quickly if there's a compromise, all of the elements of the compromise, and then what to do about that compromise instantaneously. So we have customers that actually have one person, and we have some customers that literally do have 300 people in their SOC, and they're both using the platform for the same purpose.
So you just mentioned that you are using a lot of artificial intelligence. This is a trend we have seen in the cybersecurity area in the last 2 or 3 years. Using AI to do what? Did you develop the algorithm yourself, or did you use some operations, building blocks everywhere? And at the end, is your solution aimed to automate and at the end replace the human to do what they are supposed to do?
Good question. So the algorithms themselves, we have, like I said, the company has deep experience. We've all come from companies that have used artificial intelligence in the past 2 or 3 companies. So we developed them ourselves. We have a team of PhD mathematicians that do nothing but analyze algorithms to optimize what they're looking at in terms of the data that's being brought into the system. How we use it is not to make the system smarter, but to make it so that the analyst gets to the answer, hence Just Ask. Whatever he asks, the algorithms are working hard to pull in the right data and to give the answer to the analyst. So artificial intelligence is used in 2 forms. One, when we take in the data from all these data sources, which is a very open platform, so it can come from the cloud, it can come from on-premise, it can come from a private cloud, it can even come from custom integration. The artificial intelligence looks at it and says, this information is important. I need to ingest that. Maybe other information is not important because it's just filler, data that's unnecessary, doesn't add context or meaning. So artificial intelligence is at one layer. Then, because it has more important data that it's looking at, it's able to make those linkages and map out the attack. And so it provides artificial intelligence at a second layer, which is called the intelligence layer, and how we visualize it to the human. See, the intention of AI is not to replace the human, but to make it so that the human can do his job faster, quicker and actually more accurately than they can do on their own. Because they are doing it today. Again, it's just taking a long time with a lot of effort and a lot of basically mistakes that can happen along the way because we're all just human. Computers, fortunately, are much more accurate, much more fast. And so the human then is left to actually do something about it. So what's nice is our platform, again, identifies the data, what's important, prioritizes what they need to do, and then turns it to the human to say, what do I do about it? How do I fix it in my particular organization?
When you think about artificial intelligence, you're thinking as improving the solution with the time. Is this correct?
That is correct. Like all artificial intelligence and machines, just like a human, it has to learn. So when we stick our product in, it typically takes about 30 minutes to install the JASK solution.
Which is very quick.
Very quick, because it's just a piece of software. And it's also a piece of application that's using existing infrastructure, existing data. So JASK is not having to create new information. We're just taking a better view of the information that is present. So it works really fast. Now, where it comes in from a learning standpoint is over time, days, weeks, as the company continues to use it, the artificial intelligence and the machine itself is learning about that organization, and it says, if I'm in insurance, or I'm in finance, or I'm in manufacturing, the process of compromises, whether it's an insider attack, an outsider attack, ransomware, lateral movement, whatever it may be, it's learning how that performs in that company, which may be slightly different than another industry. And that's where the learning continues to get more accurate and more beneficial over time. So we expect that JASK, again, it's pretty smart now, but as we continue to implement and grow internationally, we'll get more perspectives from different industries, different countries, different cultures, and how attacks perform in those particular environments. And that will add to the intelligence that JASK has overall. Again, very different than what happens today, which really is nothing, a SIM or other repository is really just a repository. It doesn't have much intelligence. It may do some correlation and maybe a lot of visualization, but that still puts a burden on the human to understand what they're looking at and how to segment it and come to those same answers that JASK gets to you within minutes.
Are you consolidating the experience from one customer to another? I mean, to aggregate all this experience to improve your system?
That is correct. So JASK is a cloud-based solution. So we use AWS as our kind of intelligence platform up top for a repository. So the answer to your question is yes. If one company, your data and knowledge is kept segmented in privacy, but the learnings of how an attack will work in that environment is collected at a community level in an autonomous way and in an invisible way, so you don't know that that's that company or that country, but the machine is learning how that particular attack works. And that is the intelligence that gets shared with all the other companies. So if I'm a new company that wants JASK, I'm getting the benefit of everybody else that's a member as well.
Mm-hmm. Last question, you're just 2.5 years old, so you're pretty new company, a startup. Are you already in the commercial phase, and what is your typical customers?
Yes, so we are commercialized. We have the product out in the market, commercialized for over a year now. It's actually been in the market for about 1.5 years overall, so the first 6 months was testing and making sure it was stable and sophisticated. The customers we're going after that have the most need are of all sizes. Like I said, we have somebody with 1 person, and we have a company with 300 SOC operators. We go by employee count. The difference with JASK is that we only charge by the number of employees in a company, not by how much data, not by any other method that might charge more. It's just the number of employees, just like you would with antivirus or other service, subscription-based models. We enjoy really going after the companies that have the greatest need in the particular pieces of like compliance, healthcare, finance, a lot of manufacturing, PCI compliance. Those are the companies that have had the most need at this current time because they're liable in the government or to the regulations for knowing where their data is, how it's performing, who's got it, where it's going. And JASK, because it's looking like on top of everything else, it knows what the other tools know, but it's aggregating that knowledge into one central dashboard and able to make it very quick for the customer to identify. So that's been a very significant market segment of those 4 industries for us.
Okay, last question. Do you have a French customer?
Not yet, but we are coming to Europe. We have a relationship with Exclusive Networks, which, as you know, is a global strongest distributor that originated out of France, actually. And so we are coming to Europe through them. And that means we're a 100% channel-based organization. So we're dealing with the local resellers and the systems integrators who buy through Exclusive in France, and hopefully we'll have one very, very soon.
Okay, well, we hope so for you.
Thank you.
Fitzgerald, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.